Hey, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, welcome to May.
May in Montana, to be exact.
That's where we are right this minute. And we've got Montana mountains behind us, and we've got, you may hear, meadowlark, right?
Yeah,
In the
meadowlarks
background.
and the crazy mountains are behind us, absolutely bedecked with snow,
Yeah.
a good snowpack here, which always makes everybody in the West, no matter where they live, pretty happy when that happens. So this is a cause for celebration.
Yes, yes. And so it's gorgeous, gorgeous day right now, and we wanted to stop and say hello to all of you and to let you know that this month we are just picking up on the things that we've been talking about the past few months, and really as long as we've been doing this full ecology work, and really going back to what does all this cosmology, what does, for example, quantum entanglement have to teach us about how we can let go the separation myth, the illusion that we've all been conditioned to believe, that we are separate from each other and from the natural world. So we're in this position right now of recognizing that we are of this unity, but we are diverse expressions of this unity. Stick with us. What are you thinking about?
Well, and I think we mentioned this maybe earlier, but we're continuing, science is continuing to just sort of be gobsmacked by how deep and broad and vast the connections really are among everything. Now we have electromagnetic waves coming from the outer portions of the galaxy, and now they're thought to actually alter the formation of clouds in our upper atmosphere. And so, you really, we ask this question many times: do you really end where your skin ends? And the fact of the matter is, you don't. You are living in a vast web of connection, and I think that there's great health in continuing to repeat that, because we could really use some new stories that celebrate that connection, not celebrate the illusion of rugged individualism, which exists nowhere on the planet, but rather get real with how life and how the galaxy and the universe works, and that's through connectivity.
Yeah, and so we also are interested in doing everything that we can for ourselves and for as we work with it, all work together. You work with us in this full ecology community. What we can do to make it more than just a thought, that this connection, and we really get it deep into our being, that we understand that this connection is not just real, but it's prepotent. It's the first thing. And so we've been looking, as you know, if you've been keeping up the last couple of months, into cosmology and into quantum physics. And we wanted to mention in particular the Pulitzer Prize that went in 2022 to 3 physicists who were showing that quantum entanglement is a thing, that non-local influence is a thing. And so they were able to show, do you remember that there was a one object spinning in one direction and an entangled or a twinned object spinning in the other direction?
Yeah, I believe they used photons, but there are other particles or pieces of particles
That's a better
that
word. Yeah.
you could focus on, but they used photons and basically found that photons that had been entangled or paired, even though they might be light years and light years apart, when one of them, say, changes the direction of its spin, then the other one immediately reacts and mirrors in the opposite way. And I think what some of this is suggesting, that there's always the capacity for either this or that, or a number of other options.
And this and that.
This
and
and
here's
that,
here's the thing. So the spinning protons, thank you, particles.
Photons. Yeah.
Photons. The spinning particles, you can tell that we're not physicists, were paired with each other across a long distance, say, a room or a whole building or something. And then they were also paired with another galactic source 6,000 light years away. And then they were paired with another place, a supernova way out 12,000. And 12,000 light years away. And what they found was when they influenced the spinning direction of one, all of those other ones immediately changed. Now that draws into huge question whether or not there's such a thing as space and time. Is it really the speed limit of reality is the speed of light? That's what we've come to understand. And it turns out, yep, the speed limit is the speed of light. And there is this immediate entanglement. Both things are true. Is that
Yeah,
kind of what you're
both
saying?
things are true. It's not that the speed limit that Albert Einstein put on the universe of 186,000 miles per second is wrong.
Yeah.
It's just that there is this other option out there, this other dimension, this other substrata, if you will, as well. And again, I'm very taken by the whole notion of either and because this quantum entanglement also works with photosynthesis in leaves. When sunlight comes in, when photons come in, there's a possibility of it going any of hundreds of, or thousands of pathways into the energy centers of the cells, and it doesn't really know what it's going to do, if you will, until it's there, and then it manifests itself in whatever's the most efficient way to be manifested for the energy centers of the cells in that moment. And that's the exciting thing, is really our lives are possibilities, more than firmly fixed paths that can't be altered.
And while there is the appearance of materiality, and there's everything to be said for studying materiality, the bottom line is we never have been separate from anything. We are completely connected with everything. And so how do we, and we're paying a big price right now for the belief that has been so deeply instantiated in our ways of being in community, the way we do government, the way we do economy, the way we do education, the way we do science, the way we do medicine. It holds that I am separate from you, and we are really a bunch of isolated objects in relationship with each other. And we wrote about this in Full Ecology. And it's coming up again because we think the question still remains, okay, we can all admit that, but how do we get past it? And these sets of stories that are coming from cosmology are asking us to weave a new story of absolute unity with diverse expressions. Gary and I are two diverse expressions. These mountains behind us, the clouds, the meadowlarks you hear from time to time, the grasses, are all diverse expressions. And at the very same time, we are all of a piece. We are completely related to each other.
Yeah, I think on a very practical level, one example that occurs to me is I think it was back around 1960, a little bit before, right after, the states of Idaho and Montana decided, they needed to get rid of spider mite populations in the agricultural fields. And so they elected to spray heavy doses of DDT. Well, the DDT got rid of the spider mites temporarily, but it also got rid of things like ladybugs that ate the spider mites. And shortly thereafter, they had the worst spider mite infestation in those agricultural fields they'd ever had. So this notion that, okay, we're here, we've got our chemicals, we don't like that particular being, so we're going to remove that with our chemicals, and then everything will be fine. Again and again and again, we find that no, when we pull one strand in the web of life, the whole web is essentially affected.
Right. And so this is where we are. And we are in a time, we never know how much time we have. But with the time we have in our individual lives, with the time that we have as a species, how do we want to be with each other? How do we want to tell ourselves the story of who we are? Do we want to continue living this really rather terrifying notion that we are each separate, totally isolated from each other, which is terrifying? Because if you really are, no wonder you feel lonely. No wonder you feel isolated. And you aren't really. You are never alone. You are always in the company of, you could say, your generous, benevolent, present self is always here. Always. So we're going to be taking the next few months and looking at how does the world around us give us cues for how to put down what we came to describing most directly, really, as an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
An
Yeah,
addiction
yeah.
to thinking that we're separate from each other.
Yeah, that we are only isolated individuals, and we're in control of, one of the sayings is pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps and all that. And as we've said so often, there is no such thing on planet Earth as a rugged individual. Nowhere. It can't happen. Life began in relationship when organisms from the sea managed to link with essentially ancient mycelium networks on the ground, under the ground, and life began with a relationship, and it's been in relationship, and the leading edge of evolution is relationship. And that's the kind of understanding, the reality that will carve a different future for us if we take into consideration.
So there is nowhere, no self-made person. No self-made man, no self-made woman, no self-made non-binary person. None of us is self-made. We are all here by virtue of having been in relationship with not just other people, but with the soil and the earth and the water and the air. So we will be talking about that more as the months roll by. So one of the ways that we can start letting go this idea that we are separate from each other is actually the simple act of spending time with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it does turn out that even though we have committed to the writing retreat, we still have a few spots. And so if that would be a lovely place for us to get to spend time with you, and out here in the wide, wild world of Montana.
And those of you who are inclined to be writers and to share your thoughts and your love for the natural world, this is really what's being called forward from humans, is a new set of stories. So if you are that kind of artist, what we're going to focus on is how to make your stories that mean the most to you about your relationship with other humans, but also with the natural world, how to make them as effective as possible to help share this reality, if you will, this kinship, this joy of kinship with other people through the pieces that you create.
And then another way is that we have this virtual wild thing that we all learned how to do during COVID, which is to connect over Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the 20th of May, we'll be connecting to talk more about, what does this quantum entanglement phenomenon and many other things, what do they teach us that might help us put down this addiction? And one of the first things actually is catching ourselves when we're acting out of it. And you can probably start with that anytime, because I can catch myself every day.
Yeah. Well, I'm reminded of that phrase that we used in the book Full Ecology that we wrote, and that's that the notion increasingly with a lot of biologists that instead of survival of the fittest, and by the way, fit meant appropriate behavior and adaptation to your environment. It didn't mean big and strong necessarily. But instead of survival of the fittest, it's really survival of the friendliest, survival of the friendliest. And that speaks volumes about the importance of relationship with everything. Go outside this week, stand in a field, in a park, under a tree, and see if you can perceive some of the real biologically proven relationships that are going on, from the sunlight setting your melatonin to the grass under your feet processing, the minerals that are held in the soil that then become, in some cases, in fields, the food you eat. And so it's just a magnificent set of relationships that are very exciting and very heartening, because we're not, in the end, isolated. We're not lonely.
We're not. And so that's, I guess, the other exercise. That's just another way I can tell from my socialization as separate. I was deeply conditioned to pay attention to what's not working. And so if we have a problem with addiction to separation, then we must look at and catch ourselves when we are being separate. Yeah, that's fine. That's really good, because you want to get aware of it. But it's also really good to see all the ways that you're not.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah. All the ways that you are connected right now. And so we are so fortunate to be in this field in Montana. Where are we? This southern Montana?
Yeah, we are in south central Montana
Yeah.
near the town of Big Timber with the Absaroka Beartooth mountain range and wilderness to our south and the Crazies to our west.
Yeah.
And so we're surrounded by magnificent beauty and magnificent ecosystems teeming with life that flourishes because of relationships with one another.
And even if you're in New York City and you can go outside, you can lean out the window, you have the natural world right there. And if you are in the middle of Kansas, you know there's beauty out there. You can go out, you can be in it, you can feel it, you can know it. You are in excellent company, brilliant company
Yeah.
all the time. And we'll be paying more and more attention to that. And pointing out for ourselves and one another, with your help, more and more ways that we can move with grace and with determination into this understanding that first thing, we are unified.
Yeah.
First thing.
Humanity needs us to understand that. The earth needs us to understand that. The earth will be fine whether we come to understand it or not, but we'll be a lot happier if we do.
And there's an argument that I've heard recently that the earth really will too. It's not, the earth wasn't messing around when the earth helped our species to come to being. This was an evolutionary almost intention, and we can talk more about that too. We are intended. We are not better than anything that's around us. Nope, we're completely related, but we are intended to be here in our diversity so that we can remember that we are in fact unity first, diversity in unity.
Well, thank you for tuning in here for this particular conversation, and we do look forward to talking with you more on May 20th.
Yeah, it's a week late, but May 20th at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. We will send out a notice, so if you're not on our newsletter, please go to our website at www.fullecology.com, drop to the bottom and just subscribe, and we'll make sure you get all the information you need, and we won't bombard you with too much mail. Nope, promise.
Have a good month.
Yes, do. And we will, and don't hesitate to be in touch with us about the writing retreat, the 29th of June through the 3rd of July in the beautiful Centennial Valley. Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.